welcome to the H-Town Horseshoe. I am Rebecca Williams, Communications Specialist Supervisor, home of hashtag ProcNation. The H-Town Horseshoe is brought to you by the Mayor's Office of Communications, where we give you the inside scoop on the city's many departments and what's happening in the city of Houston.
What's up, Houston? I'm Javelle Johnson, Deputy Press Secretary for the Mayor's Office of Communications. And today we're joined by a very special guest who's no stranger to this podcast, Brent Taylor.
Yay, Brent.
Formerly of the Mayor's Comms team, but now representing the Office of Emergency Management. Welcome, Brent.
That's right. Hello. Yes, I remember when this podcast was just getting started.
No.
And now you've come so far. You had the chief of police last week. Come on.
We did.
Oh, we did. That
Oh
was
my
great.
gosh.
That was
My
great.
little baby's all growing up.
And it is so good to have you back.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to be here for OEM.
Yes.
Definitely.
So let's dive into it. So as Mayor Turner often talks about, in the last 7 years, Houston has experienced 7 federally declared disasters, including Hurricane Harvey, other floods and storms. And so June 1st marks the first official start of hurricane season, right?
That's right.
So can you tell us or tell our listeners how they can prepare for this upcoming hurricane season?
You know, the best thing to do is exactly that, is to be prepared, to know, this is Houston. We get storms all the time. Another one of the things that the mayor loves to say is these storms are coming with greater frequency and greater intensity.
He does say that.
Yeah.
And so those are things that we recognize and we just have to be prepared for. So fortunately, the Mayor's Office of Public Safety and Homeland Security and the Office of Emergency Management have these excellent resources, a couple of guides that I'm going to show you today. So one, this is the quick and easy Are You Ready trifold flyer. So it's basically just going to say, what are the steps that you can take on a high level. So the 4 components are make a plan, build a kit, stay informed, and know your neighbors.
All right.
And so those are the big 4 topics. And then within each of those, you have different things that you do, specific steps. Now, if you want to get into the full details, that's where the disaster preparedness guide comes
That's
in.
the holy grail.
Come
And
on.
so-
I'm with it. Yeah.
So this is the one that has the checklist for what should be in your emergency bag.
Right.
What will you do if you need to be without power for an extended period of time? What should you do? What are your plans if you need to evacuate? This has phone numbers. This has all sorts of things. The type of information you should provide to a 911 operator, for example.
Very comprehensive.
Extremely, and all the contacts you need for the different departments and agencies across the city. So
Awesome.
get yourself one of these disaster preparedness guides, and then if you need the flyer as well, that'll get you started.
And to be clear, these are all available online.
All
as well.
this information is available online at houstonoem.org. If you need to order several of these, if maybe you're a business owner, you have a church or something like that, shoot me an email. We'll get it worked out so you can have that. And usually we throw in some other stuff like a little, disaster whistle
All
or
right.
some
Whistle.
pins and
Free
paper.
swag available. You heard it here first, guys.
We like it. We like it.
So OEM recently participated in honor of National Hurricane Preparedness Week, participated in an activation with the National Weather Service. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe some high-level takeaways?
So National Weather Service did this event called the Hurricane Hunters, where they took these massive the jets that they fly when they are literally going up in the air looking at and tracking the weather conditions that are
I'm
creating.
sorry, you're
the
saying
hurricane.
hunting for hurricanes? Is
Right.
that-
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Who is looking for that?
Yeah, well, it's the Weather
Big
Service.
disaster. Okay.
NOAA
Looking for
and
disaster.
NWS, that's what they do. So they take these big old jets up and they are able to track the conditions from the air. And so those planes were at Ellington Field this week, and so hundreds and hundreds of people came out and they got to see the planes, talk with the Weather Channel was out there, for example. They were doing media, live hits, talking with all the different experts and things like that. And then of course OEM was there, the Coast Guard was there. All sorts of different partners who have key roles in emergency preparedness, specifically related to hurricanes as a
Right.
hazard, all out there giving people information and just saying hi. So
That's
it was a
cool.
very, very fun event, very successful.
Yes, meeting great people. all for a great cause, saving lives.
Absolutely.
It is, and I got a little bit of a sunburn. I don't know if you could tell.
Okay,
So
next
time I'll bring the sunscreen.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, maybe it might have been a month ago, not sure, Brent, but I participated in what's called a jig, and is it a jig or a jig?
It's not a jig. You're not dancing.
Okay, it's not the jig.
Well,
No,
you
it's
could. I mean,
there has been dancing in it. Yeah, but no,
Yes.
JIC, Joint Information Center.
Yes.
oh, these acronyms.
Right, so many. So it was people from all over the city, different departments represented, police department, Houston Public Works, all of these things, all in one room to make sure our city is safe. And it was cool because it was like, this is what could happen. And it was so many different options. Talk about all the departments that come together to ensure the safety of our city.
Sure. So whether it's an anticipated hazard like a hurricane where we
Right.
have, maybe 5 days of planning and things like that, whether it's that or whether it's what we call a no-notice incident when, a spontaneous riot or something like that were to break out, we activate the Emergency Operations Center at Houston OEM. And so we are the ones who coordinate that. And we get, just like you said, partners not just from within the city, but from outside of the city. So you will get, in addition to your police, fire, public works, libraries if they need to be there, finance, things like that. In addition to all those types, you'll also get CETRAC, which is an organization for monitoring the hospitals in the area to make sure that they know where the availability is, so they can send send the patients to the right places so that they can have the right kind of treatment. And then you'll have CETRAC, you'll have the FBI can be in there sometimes. We had the ATF recently come in, Texas Department of Emergency Management, TDEM, big partners there. The National Weather Service, again, they are our meteorologists who tell us everything as the events are happening. So it is a very large collaborative space where we can talk about and plan for and execute on those plans for any hazard that we're prepared to face.
And I think it's a beautiful nuance because it is getting ahead of the narrative, like bringing in all of these people in their different areas of expertise to put your mind together to make sure that we've thought of everything
Definitely.
to ensure the safety of it. I think it's a great activation.
Yeah, at least from a communications perspective, I can tell you that I have learned I don't know half as much as I think I do. Right.
That
And
part.
so you lean so hard on those subject matter experts,
Yeah.
and it's who better to have in your corner
Right.
when you're facing the weather than the National Weather Service.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like
That
it's
part.
just such a natural, complementary setup that we have, and it works very well. We have activated because it's not always these bad, terrible things like
Right.
hurricanes and storms and stuff. We activated for the Chevron Houston Marathon. We'll activate for Freedom Over Texas. We activate for the NCAA Final Four.
Right.
All of these large scale events that have the potential for a threat to arise. We're there, we're ready, we have plans, we're good to go. And so it is a very collaborative and successful collaboration.
Beautiful. Well, it's about that time.
Come
Brent.
on.
I think you know what I mean.
All right.
5:20 time.
Okay.
And so you're familiar with the rules, correct? Like,
give or take, yeah.
we're going to ask 5 questions, and you'll have a total of 20 seconds to answer everything.
Okay.
Okay, so I will start the timer.
Come on now.
Rebecca, I'm going to kick off the first question to you.
All right.
And you give me the nod, Brent, when you're ready.
All right, let's do this.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. How can people subscribe to the Alert Houston system?
AlertHouston.org.
How many languages does OEM's disaster preparedness guide come in?
English, Spanish, French, Chinese, Mandarin, Vietnamese, and Arabic 6.
All right. How can community partners participate with OEM?
Go to www.houstonoem.org, send us an email, we'll get with you and hook it up. We got 3.
We were almost
You were
there.
almost like 3.5.
Okay, I'll let you finish that, and then I'll ask my follow-up.
Okay. Yeah, no. So if you need to get information from us, if you want us to come out and give your organization, church, business, any of that a presentation, houstonoem.org, and we will follow up with you to get that set up.
Okay. And you mentioned this earlier. So the city's hazard mitigation plan, right? How often is it updated, and what's the significance as to why we do that?
So the hazard mitigation plan, just to give a little bit of background, it's sort of in the name, right? But it identifies the hazards. So Obviously, in Houston, we have specific hazards that other places may not have. We have lots of refineries. We have the weather that is unique to Houston. So it identifies the type of hazards that we face, what we can do to prevent, disaster from occurring as related to those hazards. And then if disaster does occur, we have the plans in place to do that. We update it every 5 years. And in addition to just the preparedness and the responsibility that we have as a city to, successfully manage those kinds of things for our residents, it also is tied to the ability for the federal government to provide grants. So whether it's FEMA grants, even non-emergency grants, things like that are tied to us having a good working hazard mitigation plan.
Understood.
All right. Last and final question. How many non-city partner organizations has OEM collaborated with in the last 2 years?
So here's a little peek behind the curtain for the viewers.
Ooh.
I got these questions ahead of time, and so I tried to do a little research. And even with my
Spoiler
research,
Yeah.
it is too many to count.
Okay.
It is too many.
Well, that's
to
a good
count.
That's
thing.
a good answer.
That's a good
For
thing.
sure.
Means
Because
that
like I
you're-
said, I gave examples earlier when we were talking about the JIC training, but
Right.
that is just the tip of the
Yeah.
iceberg. There are so many others that will show up and have a very specific role to play in each incident response, and we are just incredibly blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Absolutely. We leverage our resources. We rely on the SMEs to get the work done. Yep, absolutely.
Amen.
Well, although we were a little short on time, I thought that was an amazing round. So bravo to you. So before we wrap, I want to touch on the response and recovery side of things. So can you touch on how past disasters have shaped our approach to resilience and recovery and how these feed into Mayor Turner's Resilient Houston plan?
Well, we have seen, you mentioned it earlier, but 7 federally declared disasters in 7 years.
Right.
Not all of those were hurricanes, right? Hurricanes are definitely one of the most probable hazards that we face in Houston, but we face more than that. I don't know if y'all remember that winter storm.
Oh, I remember.
That was crazy.
I
Never
remember.
seen anything
It's
like
unprecedented.
And the grid, challenges that came with it, and, having people without power and for extended periods of time. These are all
scary.
things that we've learned. And so as the city, we've begun hardening certain city facilities against those types of hazards. And so we're doing what are called resilience hubs. And so whether it's a city building or if there are communities who are wanting to participate in this as well, we're creating resources for that so that they can understand what the best things to do are, best practices. But we're creating in as many neighborhoods around the city as you can hopefully think of, right? We want everyone to have access to one of these resilience hubs during a time of emergency so that they know where to go. When we tell them, it's not like a 24/7, 365 thing. But
Right.
when the time is right and when those resources are available, this is the identified location.
They
that
can
can
physically
go
go
to.
to these to seek safety and shelter.
That's right. That's right.
Beautiful. And just out of curiosity, how many resilient hubs do we have currently?
We wouldn't say
Okay.
that. We don't want to
Okay.
say that ahead of time.
Okay.
Just because depending on the nature of. So, for example, if a storm comes, we've identified, this is going to be the resilience hub for neighborhood A. Well, then that storm comes and knocks that place down, even though it is hardened. Because you despite our best efforts, we still get surprised sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
And so we don't want to identify them always ahead of time, just in the event that we don't
Outwardly.
know where we're going
Right.
to go.
But that's why signing up for the alerts is vitally important.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing it up.
The alerts are vitally important. So if you sign up, how do they do that?
So if you go to alerthouston.org, that is where you can sign up, put in your email, your phone number. We'll send you text messages and emails with this important information. We don't blow you up. Like, we're not gonna,
Right.
we're not gonna.
Spam
It's important to
It's only the critical information we're gonna send you, and it is truly an incredibly important resource for residents, because that is one of the first places we will go whenever we have that information to share. We're going to send that email and that text message so that so that you can be prepared, and that you're listening. In addition to that, you will hear those same things from your local media, from, we have organizations where we're working with nonprofits and things like that. So we try to create a unified message that everyone is getting so that there is no confusion about what you
Right.
should do whenever
That's
the
key.
most
That part.
important time comes.
Yes. What's that?
Well, thank you so much, Brent, for again coming and sharing all of this knowledge. And again, one more time, what's that resource?
Oh, alerthouston.org.
alerthouston.org. Okay, and it's a free resource. People
Absolutely
can download.
free.
Okay.
Yes. So fill it out. I'm filling it out today. You've converted me.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
subscribe. I believe I am.
However many
but I will
podcasts
definitely
I
make
have
sure.
to go on to, that's what I will do.
I've been converted. I'm doing it today, Brent. Definitely. And it's always a pleasure. And just a side note, the concept of the H-Town Horseshoe, again, it was 3 of us in that room, and it was you was on the horseshoe. He gave us the concept for the horseshoe. Just because we didn't even know. Shout out to Michelle. We love you. We didn't really understand or pay attention that our city council sits in a horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they call it, right?
So that was Brent. We will give you your flowers. We will not take credit. So we definitely want to thank you. So excited about all the amazing things that you're doing. We know you're going to do an amazing work at OEM.
Thank
That's
you.
just who you are.
Absolutely.
And so we're just glad to have you, and we've enjoyed you today.
And please come back.
Yes.
You know,
Making
once
me
a
blush
former
over
comms
here.
team member, always a comms team member. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. This is a great time. I love that we have this platform for people, for departments to be able to come on and share this information. So thank you all very much.
Yes.
Great.
So until next time, catch us in the horseshoe. If you want to see this podcast snippets, you can go to any of the mayor's social media. You'll see the H-Town Horseshoe there. So until next time, we'll catch you in the horseshoe.
See you later, guys.
Bye.